Yo, what's going on, Kicks Army? On today's video, I'll be doing a digital illustration on the Squidward Kyrie 5s, as well as talking about the state of the Golden State Warriors, the NBA requiring teams to have health professionals, and the oh-so-coveted Christmas Day schedule. Let's get it! Now, before we get into the rest of the video, I gotta give a shout out to today's sponsor, KicksArt.com. It's the #1 site for free sneaker stencils. I'm talking over 300 free sneaker stencils. And to stay notified for whenever I upload a new stencil, all you gotta do is scroll to the bottom of the homepage and I'll have all the recent stencils there. And your boy finally got products on the site. Let's go! Well, it's actually just one product at the moment, but think of all the potential. Now I can finally add products to the website. People can actually purchase products from the website. So it's a huge move for me. I'm super excited. Now on with the rest of the video. Now this particular colorway of the Kyrie 5 is actually a part of a collection that Nickelodeon is doing with Nike, and it's really cool because growing up I watched Spongebob all the time. I was a huge fan of the show. I imagine most people are, which is why it's so popular and it had over 200 episodes. Other colorways of the Kyrie 5 that are part of the collection are the Spongebob and Patrick colorways, and the Kyrie Low 2 is getting some love too with the Sandy Cheeks model as well as the Mr. Krabs. Now there's really two things that I would like to point out with this collection that really got my attention. So when you go on Nike's website, when you're looking at the collection and you're flipping through all the different colorways, one thing that I absolutely love is that initial graphic where it shows the sneaker and then it has a collage of different SpongeBob type references behind it and around it, where it has like all those 3D models. I think that looks amazing. It is brilliant on behalf of the designers. With these Squidwards in particular, look what's surrounding. All right, we have the Easter Island head Moab thing in the back. All right, we had the clarinet, the iconic Squidward clarinet in the front. And then to the left of the sneaker, look, we even have that artist paint tray with the paintbrush. And if you look on top of the basketball, it's wearing one of those artist hats. Like the whole thing works so well. They all have their own little quirks that make it so interesting. So if you'd like to see me bust out the rest of this collection and this digital illustration style, please let me know in the comment section down below. Now the second part of this that I find really interesting is let's really think about SpongeBob and how we know SpongeBob today. Is anybody honestly watching the episodes when they really think about SpongeBob? As far as I'm concerned, whenever I think about SpongeBob, it's within the context of memes, all right? Memes. Think about it, like every month there's like a new SpongeBob frame that gets taken from one of the episodes of the show, and that becomes the new meme of the month. So the fact that they're capitalizing on a trend that continues to grow is genius on Nike's part. Kudos to you guys. If any one of these sneakers in the collection catch your fancy, they are dropping Saturday morning 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Kyrie 5s are retailing for $130 and the Kyrie 2 lows are retailing for $110. Let's go! Now over the past week, we saw that Draymond Green had signed a $100 million 4-year maximum contract extension with the Golden State Warriors. And this is interesting for a few reasons, because one, it guarantees that big three of the Golden State Warriors will continue to stay for at least the next 3 to 4 years. And listen, just because Kevin Durant is no longer on the Golden State Warriors does not mean that the Golden State Warriors are not a threat, okay? If we look back to, I believe it was 2016, right? The season before Kevin Durant joined. Okay, listen, that was a 73 win team, right? It's nothing to scoff at. These players are absolutely still in their prime, all right? Steph Curry is no joke, okay? Kevin Durant might have won the Finals MVP the previous 2 seasons prior to this one, but Steph Curry also still held his own, and even in this past NBA's Finals, he did very well. Okay, homeboy had 47 points in 1 game. Now, just to make sure that my biases are out there in the open, it was very satisfying to see that 47-point game because all I could think about was LeBron James when he was going through that, all right? Not too much help. He was the focus of that team. He was the one outputting the most, and it's like, man, you now know what it must feel like to be LBJ the King. The dude's already got 3 rings on his finger, all right, 4 if you count Aisha, but we don't really count those, right? And he's still a title contender. He will still be on a team that will be a title contender for at least 2 to 3 more years minimum. And what makes this season upcoming in particular very interesting is now that we know that Klay's probably going to be gone majority of the season, all right? We don't think he's going to be gone the entire season, but majority of the season, season, it's going to be that most of the workload is realistically going to be on both Steph's hands as well as Draymond's hands. If you listen to a lot of the sports media, a lot of people really have a hard time debating on who's number 2 in that team, because while the majority of the general public in the basketball world would say it's Clay because of just the higher level of shooting that he has that almost nobody in the history of the game has, not compared to his all-star backcourt teammate Steph Curry, there has been a big case that Draymond is actually the second most important person on that team because of the position that he plays and the way in which he plays that position. Also, that Steph Curry Draymond Green pick and roll is no joke. Okay, I'll tell you what, I don't want to be defending either of them. Okay, I'm 5'6", so there's where that goes. But I'm just saying that's still going to be a problem during the regular season. Are they going to have a huge success, like 55 plus wins? I doubt it, because it only makes sense to kind of take the regular season easy, especially considering that your second and or third best player in the team is not going to be available most of the season. And even when he is available, you kind of want to make sure that he has a nice and easy transition back into his regular self prior to the playoffs, so that way he doesn't get re-injured. That's what we do not want to happen. But it is because of Klay Thompson's injury that makes this season as wide open as it is. Guys, we legit got 10 different potential title contenders, and like 8 of them are in the West, so do with that information what you will. Western Conference playoffs gonna be nuts! This next story came out either yesterday or the day before, but I thought this was also really interesting. Apparently the NBA will now require every team to have a licensed mental health professional on retainer this year. And if you have seen this post or anybody talking about this, usually there's also an image of Kevin Love associated. The big reason for this is, if you remember, I think it was 2 seasons ago, Kevin Love really came out and spoke about all the different anxieties and mental health issues that he had going on that really affected his way of playing basketball, as well as just his mental psyche in general and how he's able to process his daily routine. I mean, the guy talked about having a panic attack mid-game, like he was in the back locker room freaking out. He didn't know what to do. Once the news had broken down, he became such a huge activist for mental health in sports. He had a lot of different people contacting him, and we started to see a number of different players kind of open up about their issues, another one being DeMar DeRozan. I honestly feel like this is such a huge win for the NBA, not just for the simple fact that I do believe a lot of these players in the NBA could use the benefit of having a licensed professional really helping them out with their own mental health issues, but this would also really help destigmatize this discussion that for a while has almost been untouched, almost like it was a taboo of some sorts. And it's really been over the recent years that we've been able to see this discussion just open up in ways that we've never seen before in the past, and I think it's awesome. And I'm sure there are a number of factors as to why these players could really find benefit from having this licensed professional to talk to, but one in particular that I've thought about numerous times, and we've kind of seen a little bit of this side poke its head out when Jeremy Lin had recently came out about some of the things he was going through, feeling like he was left back from the league, and that a lot of these players derive their purpose in life from playing the sport that they love. But one thing that we really have to remember, and it's very easy to forget this, most of the players that play in the NBA have an average lifespan of 3 to 4 playing years. Maybe thinking, what are you talking about, KicksArt? A lot of the players that I watch have been in the league for at least a decade, if not have a decade's worth of game left to play. And that's 100% true, but think about that. A lot of the players that we like to watch, alright, tell me who's excited to see the 11th guy off the bench. Okay, I couldn't name one person that is in that position, and those guys are absolutely fundamental to the team. If you had listened to the podcast Ryan Higa had with Jeremy Lim, he was talking about how even those guys that are the 15th person on the bench, they practice just as hard, if not as hard, as the starting 5, because they always have to be ready for the possibility of them being put into the game. It's not like they can just, never work out, never stay in shape, never practice their shots, because if in fact they do actually get called in, they have to be ready. And part of what makes them important is because they're the training partners, they're the literal training partners of the stars of the NBA that we know and love. And think about it, when these guys grow up their entire lives hoping to be in the NBA one day, only to be cut after 4 or 5 seasons, man, for some people that can have a huge impact on them. I don't know, I think this is such a huge win for the NBA. It's only going to make these players stronger, not physically but mentally, which I think is just going to make the league stronger. And man, that's all I want, alright? That's all I want. And to wrap up the video, a little bit ago, we finally got the schedule released for Christmas Day. And guys, This is nuts. It really helps when you have a number of different teams that continue to improve, not just in terms of the players, but the storylines that come with it, because that's what really sells a lot of these games. That's what makes me and you interested in watching all 5 of these games throughout Christmas Day. As if having the Lakers and the Clippers play each other 4 times throughout the regular season was not entertaining enough, of course you already know that they're gonna have one of those instances be Christmas Day opening game. As a side note, if we're talking about specifically LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, think about what having another championship and finals MVP would mean to each one of those players. All right, huge stuff. It's kind of stuff that keeps me up at night so much. Oh my God. Next up, we got the Pelicans and the Nuggets. Now, Pelicans are really interesting because they essentially completely retooled, all right? They're the Lakers plus Zion, okay? They're really, really interesting this upcoming season. I don't see them birthing into the playoffs, but the amount of talent and potential they have on their team makes watching each and every single one of those games worth it in my opinion. And the team that they're going up against, absolutely no slouch, all right? The Nuggets are legit. Jokic, insanely talented player, all right? This guy's got fundamentals down to a T. Murray would absolutely be an all-star level guard if he was in the East, but unfortunately he is in the stacked West, but he's no joke as well. I'm still waiting to see the return of Michael Porter Jr., alright? A lot of people forgot that he's on the team, but he's absolutely on the squad. They got Bol, okay? Not to mention a plethora of solid bench and role players. It's a solid team, alright? It's definitely a fun team to watch. You will absolutely see them in the playoffs again, mark my words. Next up, we got Celtics and Raptors. This is pretty interesting, although not as interesting as the other games that we're going to see on this day, mainly because the Raptors, I mean, they've already reached their peak, right? The pinnacle. They won an NBA championship the first time in franchise history, and they lost the best player that essentially allowed them to get that. So it's not going to be too interesting to see their progress. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't expect them to do much, considering they did, again, lose their best player, arguably one of the 3 best players in the league. So the expectations aren't too high for the Raptors. Celtics also don't have Kyrie Irving anymore, and they also don't have Al Horford, but they did get in return Kemba Walker. All right, they still have Jason Tatum. They still have good role players. They still have a good coach. They still have a good system. So I do absolutely see both of these teams in the playoffs. It will make for an entertaining game, but in terms of reaching, you know, the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals, I don't see it. I could be wrong though. It's happened before. I guarantee it'll happen again. Next up, we got the Bucks versus 76ers, also known as my prediction for Eastern Conference Finals. That's not really a hot take. I mean, most people would probably figure the same. Giannis continues to grow. Joel Embiid continues to grow. I think Joel Embiid's actually going to have a great season. I think what happened last season, that shot dropping down to the bottom of the net and the bottom of all the 76ers hearts. I mean, like, this hopefully had a huge mental shift in his head to really stay a lot more focused with the game, stay a lot more patient with the process, and continue to push himself to new heights. And guys, ready? I'm calling it right now. Ben Simmons will hit a 3 this season. I know, it's like a super controversial take. Tell me about it. No, but I think they're a nasty duo. They're really fun to watch. That series with the Raptors was insanely entertaining, and again, for a series that was as crazy as it was fitting to end the way that it did. And then lastly, we got the Rockets and the Warriors. Again, with the Rockets, okay, James Harden and Westbrook? That's nuts, all right? And again, we don't expect Klay to be back at this time during the season. Even if for some odd reason he is able to come back, I wouldn't expect them to go ahead and play that high level intensity of a game. And I think in this particular scenario, if you don't have Klay, you're going to have a hard time winning that game. I think James Harden and Russell Westbrook are going to have a lot of fun torturing Steph Curry that day for all the times that he's knocked them out of the playoffs. And they'll for sure have their win that night, but then it's going to be very interesting to see if they do meet up again in the playoffs, how the dynamic of that team is going to go. Again, this is a wild toss-up for Houston right now, and it's only going to be that much more interesting to see it play out. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bounce past that bell for post notification. Don't forget to check out KicksArt.com for all your sneaker stencil needs. Comment down below anything you thought about today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Yay!